Hello and welcome to the Comics Conspiracy, episode 368.75 for the week of
3.143.
Yeah, whatever. For the week of September 18th, 2018. My name is Brock Sager. Who's here with me?
Charlie.
No, you're not Charlie.
Biggity Bryce.
You are nowhere near Bryce.
Omar.
That's a throwback. No.
This is Scott.
Hey, Scott.
And Kevin.
And Kevin. That's it. We got three guys.
Yeah, it's a 0.75. It's a 0.25 per person. We will try to bring 100.0 of entertainment.
Marshall's here. We forced him to be here. He refused to speak on mic. So when you're hearing this...
He just walked out.
You're lying.
No,
he's
left.
Right here.
He left. He's going
sitting
home.
Right here.
No. So, the reason why we do not have a regular episode this week is due to the fact that I decided to go all Bane on Higgins and break his back. Just slammed him down on my knee, and just the noise was glorious to hear his back go. It was amazing. Now, Ryan's actually having back issues, and he ended up in the hospital yesterday. He's back home now, trying to, on doctor's orders, he can't come to work. So apparently he couldn't shave or anything, so we may get an evil Higgins with the beard.
Mirror Universe Higgins.
Mirror Universe Higgins. I'm super excited for that.
Well, it's a good thing he wasn't here today at the shop for all of those little kids who came in and were pulling those books off the wall.
Oh, God.
He would have really...
He would have tried to pick one of
puckered so far it would have turned inside out.
He would have tried to pick up one of those comics. His back would have spasmed, and he would have been screaming on the floor. And one of the kids would have went, "Mommy, what's wrong with that older man?" Nothing, honey. Let's leave. So, not too much news to talk about. We did post out some questions, so we'll get to those. But something did drop this morning that was pretty significant, and that was the teaser or the first trailer for Marvel's Captain Marvel. Now, I watched it. Scott, did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
All right. And Kevin, did you watch it?
I did too.
Okay. And what are your first reactions to that trailer?
So I feel like with each social media or post that they've made as it's gone through, it's gotten actually better and better. So the first one, she pops up in the green suit, and you're like, I don't know how that looks, and whatever. And then the next still photos come out, and you see some scrolls. You see her in her the blue and yellow and red jam, and that looked pretty good. And then the trailer looked good. I mean, again, there was scenes of it that looked a little, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the suit didn't glow like Green Lantern, so at least there was that.
It did glow.
But not
glowing.
like a Green Lantern suit.
So I don't know. I was not super stoked, and then a little more stoked about it, and now maybe even a little bit more.
Sharp?
With the caveat that you cannot trust a trailer.
Truth.
For reference, see the brilliant Man of Steel trailer.
Yes.
We'll leave it at there.
Man of Steel was not that bad.
No, I'm not saying I didn't say it was bad. I'm saying that the trailer set an expectation that the movie did not live up to.
Yeah,
that's all.
Same thing with Green Lantern. Like that first,
Green Lantern did have a good trailer.
Did have a really excellent trailer, and then just
this one looks exactly as good of a movie as fill in the blank. Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man. It looks like squarely in that Marvel wheelhouse. I'm a little biased here because I think, as we've talked about on this show for some topic, my favorite Marvel character is Captain Marvel, and by that I mean
Marvel,
yeah.
And so I'm perhaps a little more excited for this one, even though I know I'm going to get probably a glorified cameo.
Are we going to get a cameo of Captain?
He was in the trailer, yeah.
Who plays him? It's
Jude Law.
Jude Law, okay.
Oh, did not know that.
So
now, how do you feel about that casting since you love Marvel?
I have no problem with it. I don't know who I would have said this is my dream actor for that character because there's not something about that character like a Mr. Fantastic.
Because Paul Walker passed away, and Paul Walker would have been an awesome.
Yeah. Visually, he would have looked perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, it looks good. like every other Marvel trailer pretty much looks.
So for me, I was sold right when she crashes into the Blockbuster Video, because I thought that was great that there was a Blockbuster Video in the trailer. Rest in peace, Blockbuster Videos, except for that random one up in Alaska. There's like a handful of Blockbuster Videos left. One's in Alaska, and John Oliver sent them a whole bunch of stuff from Russell Crowe's auction.
What do they just refuse to give up? They're like
the last Japanese soldier in a cave on an island at the end of World War II.
Well, I mean, at some point they were franchised, so they're owned by individuals. So
they're like, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay alive.
Like, where do we buy our DVDs now? Netflix?
Yeah. She fell down a lot in this trailer. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the flashback. Or
like
the
she was
flashbacks.
falling or on her ass or just face plant or whatever a lot.
Now, can I ask a clarifying question here?
Yeah.
Because my knowledge of Carol Danvers is decades old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read the current series. I thought she was human, and she just had the nega bands.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was Kree herself. Is that a new development, or am I missing something? Or
I believe so, because you and I are on the same pathway. Marvel superheroes, 12, 13.
and her in the Avengers as Miss with the sash on her waist
Right.
costume. So I thought she was human.
The sash may have been post Kree, part Kree.
Okay.
Flushing out of
The original
who you
costume,
really
she
are.
looks like Marvel, but with a cape.
Yes.
Then the redesigned costume has no cape. It's like a sleeveless black kind of T-shirt and leggings with a sash around her waist. That's one. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't honestly know. It's one of those things that the history of Ms. Marvel that I know is that she crossed with Rogue, and that ended badly. Which is where Rogue got some of her like permanent powers from Ms. Marvel, who is now Captain Marvel. So for me, I'm not sure exactly what origin they're going with.
Well, I mean, again, it's convoluted because at some point she was binary.
Yeah.
yeah.
At some point she was Warbird. That was the black costume with the the
it looks
Z
like,
on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is she?
The basically the swimsuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of in the Avengers costume.
Yeah, because that's basically that. All I remember of that one is it was a swimsuit and her boobs were ginormously big for who she was, and I was like, huh?
But the trailer seems to hint that she's either alien or alien with false memories of being human, or human who is possibly been implanted by some powers by aliens.
Whose father and mother may have been Kree, and then taken and then wiped of memory. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens.
If they make her any shape or form related to Star-Lord, I'm done. Like, screw that. Okay,
Will you literally walk out?
I'll walk out. I'll be like, nope.
All right, it's on, guys. You heard that? It is.
If you see a large figure,
how long?
If you see a large figure stand up in the middle of the aisle and lumber out of the theater in anger.
Episode 0.75 at this time, and Brock says he'll walk out.
Well, I think that's a thing where...
Oh, come on. That's how ridiculous would that be?
But the origin for her, unlike, say, Captain America or Spider-Man, the origin isn't a key part of that character. So I think either of those directions they go is fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it really would affect the movie quality.
Well, I like that they're setting it in the, early 90s? Late 80s?
90s. Yeah.
Like
Blockbuster was huge.
I know.
There you go.
I remember the Blockbusters. So I like that they're kind of doing it. They're going back and not kind of cramming it into present day, especially with everything that's been going on with Infinity War. So I think that's a good step for them. It's just going to be really curious to see what they do, like why she's been gone so long. Because if the movie does well, then we're going to get, a second one, which could possibly be maybe like the Kree Skrull War.
Oh,
I'm just saying, like,
no,
there's stuff that they could do, and it's stuff that's before all the stuff that we've seen since Iron Man.
Well, and it's going to be interesting, power levels wise, everybody's saying she's the most powerful hero, and I'm like, well, in no comic have I ever read was she the most powerful person in the comic.
I think they're trying to push giving her a little more like Superman, Supergirl level powers.
Like binary? Are they cranking her up during that
Maybe.
time?
I mean, when I was online earlier before I had to come into work and process a huge week, which we'll talk about a little bit tonight.
No.
Whatever. I'll just shut your mic off if you don't want to talk about it. Like people online were saying they were, like Carol Danvers, military background, but then they had her with like this long flowy hair, and then there's been the mohawk, which we kind of saw in one of the images when she's flying through space. She's gone through a lot of transitions as a character over her history. So
yes, there's even the African American version.
Yes,
of
which I can't remember.
Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Monica Rambeau, something like that. I can't remember her last name.
Well, she was first
from the Secret Wars era.
Yeah, but she was first because Carol was always Miss Marvel,
right?
So, because was there another Miss Marvel before her, or was it?
No, she was first.
She's first.
She's first. Okay,
I can see that cover.
Oh yeah.
Miss Marvel with the tiny skirt, and
she's like punching out of the cover.
Yep,
almost. John Romita.
Now, did you guys catch her punching that old lady?
Yeah,
in the trailer. I was like,
a scroll.
That's
You're
a scroll.
Like, that's a scroll.
But for people that don't know, do you think they're going to get offended that she's beating on an old woman?
Everybody gets offended over everything, so who cares?
This is true. So I guess cool. I can't wait to see more.
Those of you who are getting offended by my comments of everybody getting offended, sorry, but not sorry.
So you'll have Captain Marvel in March of next year. You'll have Infinity War
in
whatever it's called in May of next year.
Unless they decide to change it to April.
And then you'll have something else. Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
It's
back.
No, it's not. It's Homecoming something. I can't remember.
Yeah, and that's in the fall of next year, I think.
Did we talk about them pulling or putting Guardians on hiatus?
Yeah,
kind of.
Did we kind of
talked about the whole
James Gunn thing,
James Gunn thing with the rehashing of stuff that was 10 years old that he had already apologized for, and Disney was completely aware of it. So,
well, we talked about that, but did we talk about the fact that Disney's now putting a halt to filming of that movie?
It's Disney's loss.
Yeah.
It's the Guardians was, despite what I thought of Guardians 2. It being with all the extra humor that was added to it. Overall, they had a potential franchise going with just Guardians on its own. And the merchandising from Guardians on its own is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
I predict you'll see that movie at some point. I don't think you just shelve that.
Yeah, my guess is what Disney's doing is they're waiting for some of this stuff to die down, and then they'll work on it, and they'll probably use Gunn because they want to keep the actors happy, but they're not going to give him any credit for it, and it's whether or not he takes that and decides to do it, or they come back and they say, you know what, we've decided to work with him again. Who knows? Yeah,
it's just it's a continual tease of me by Marvel Studios in that my favorite character, I'm getting a Captain Marvel movie, but it's not him. The end of Guardians 2, my second favorite character, the Adam Warlock cocoon, and then Guardians 3 is canceled.
Yeah, they're just trolling. They're trolling.
They pull it out and they pull it back.
Yep. So we'll see. Am I as pumped for Captain Marvel as, say, Aquaman? No, I'm more pumped for Aquaman. That first trailer was really amazing. You saw it, right, Scott?
Yeah, I would not. I'm not. Okay. I would be more pumped for Captain Marvel. And here's why. Outside of Wonder Woman, what could you have really been like, yes, I am so pumped at Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel.
The train of disappointment is just pulls you down.
It pulls me down. Yeah. And it doesn't. It's not like I'm not Look, I'm going to go see it.
You love Aquaman as a character.
I do. I think he's great. And I think Momoa did a good job as Namor. So I feel like DC Namor
didn't have the winged ankles.
Is probably going to be very good. I will go see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but it's not like I'm going to be there opening night, like standing in line an hour ahead of time.
Well, I think Aquaman is the first one that kind of John's has a lot of
reserved seating means that I don't have to stand in any lines anymore, though.
Wait, we stand in lines?
We used to.
Oh, I would just show up late because I had to watch my kids, and then everyone was already in there saving the seat for me. So, thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
No, it's there. John's is the head of the creative stuff and heavily influenced that Aquaman.
So speaking of Aquaman and the DC universe,
currently,
did you talk about Cavill?
Oh,
last week,
the rumor, non-rumor.
Yeah.
So no, we didn't talk about it last week because I think it dropped.
Gone.
It dropped.
No, but
Thanos is killing half the DC universe.
But it's
no. So I think it dropped later in the week last week that Henry Cavill was out as Superman, and there was this the internet went crazy for like a day or two, and then I think yesterday or Sunday it was like, oh no, there's no plans to take him out. So they were like, that's completely.
I missed
really
that.
False.
Yeah.
I got the I'm out.
Yeah, that's the sexy part that gets headlines.
Yeah.
He's in.
Yeah.
Didn't get that part.
No.
I think his mustache and beard were out.
But he's hardly the problem.
Yeah. I mean,
he was so good. He was so good at the end of Justice League.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's it. Just make that whole movie. Just, there you go.
Well, I think Henry Cavill
fly around,
throughout,
save a cat out of a tree.
Throughout Man of Steel was really rough. And then we get into BVS and he does better at the character. And then we get to Justice League and that's where we see him shine, right? It's kind of like the crappy Zack Snyder died died and then was reborn as a version that is much more suited.
So I thought I thought he was fine in Man of Steel to a certain point. And then I thought he regressed in Batman vs Superman.
Kevin, you can speak up.
I can't comment. That I'm trying to purge the hard drive of my memories of that. Sorry, Ryan. Not like Ryan will be listening to this, but I'll throw in a token apology anyway.
I mean, he'll be laying out flat, so maybe he'll listen to it and go, I'm editing that out. I'm editing that out. We record a 3-hour podcast, and it ends up being 45 minutes. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that. Jerk.
Yes, but anyway, Henry Cavill in the right movie, meaning the right Superman movie, because he's been good in other movies outside of DC, but I'm saying the right Superman movie with the right tone and the right script, I think he could be great.
Well, and again, it's you have to play. You have to not only be able to play Superman, you have to be able to play Clark Kent, and you have to be able to just with some little subtle way of how you carry yourself, make yourself look like an average Daily Planet reporter. I mean, Christopher Reeves did an amazing job of it. One of Bryce's favorite artists, Frank Quitely, right? He draws if you look at how he draws Clark versus how he draws Superman, that's two completely different, distinct. It looks like two different characters, but it's not. And not to mention that there's also the Kal-El aspect to the character that you have to. I mean, it's not necessarily who he is, but it influences him at certain points. So, and it's the same thing with Batman, where you have to be able to. I mean, you could throw anybody in that cape and cowl. I mean, anybody can. You can throw them in there, and then they can growl, "I'm Batman," all the time. Hey, Bat Dad is hilarious. Okay, but
Ben.
Yeah, those are great. But you get to something like playing. Now we have to have your Bruce Wayne. You have to take on a completely different persona, and Michael Keaton did it fabulously. Christian Bale did it for what it was. But then you have Val Kilmer and George Clooney. It's kind of just
Hey, I like Val Kilmer as Batman. I'm not going to argue that the movie is great, but I like Val Kilmer as Batman.
He was good.
Yeah. So nothing is. He goes to your point. You can plug in a competent actor in that part. Batman is not. Let me think of how to word this so I don't continue Scott's offense train. For an actor,
left the station,
an actor, Batman is not like playing Hamlet.
No.
Yes, it's an interesting layered character in comics, but as far as a screen performance, you don't need the world's greatest actor as Batman.
No, they just got to be able to turn their neck a little and make grunting noises, right? For Batman.
And play a playboy.
Yeah. And if you have them scream the name Martha, you just need to cut that out of your script.
See,
you had to go.
You got to go there and bring it
there.
up and just screeching halt this.
Just stick it. Just jab and turn it just a little. So I mean, we got a couple things coming up for movies and stuff. I mean, is there anything specific you guys wanted to talk about?
We wanted to let the listeners decide, right?
Well, we have a handful of questions,
Okay.
but it's nothing. There's not like a 50 bajillion of them.
Well, when you want
I don't have Ryan Higgins caliber reach.
When you want to talk about this week's shipment, Scott and I will just leave, and you can be like the drunk at the bar when everybody else has gone home, and you're still telling your story.
And I had to put 878 comics on the shelf.
Yes, Batman Damned. Who thought it was a good idea
to make a bigger comic book? This is a small comic book in a bigger comic book format. And we have to get
retailers
new bags and boards.
I once knew this Higgins guy who said big comics don't sell. They just don't sell.
So for those of you that aren't aware or not plugged in, or this is the only way you get your news,
maybe they read the Hub. Hashtag the Hub sucks.
Hashtag love the Hub. So DC is releasing their Black Label line, which is basically kind of their mature superhero line of books. They give creators a little more creative freedom with the characters to do things. They could swear, there's nudity, all this other stuff. So the first release in this is Batman Damned by Brian Azzarello and why am I blanking on
Lee Bermejo.
Lee Bermejo. Thank you. And the creators get to choose how they want to present the title, and so they chose to do it in a magazine format or more of a European style. So it's actually magazine sized. So if you do end up going to your local comic book store and picking it up, make sure to get a bag and a board that is magazine sized.
It's not going to fit in your comic book box.
It won't fit in your comic book box.
That blows.
It'll fit sideways for like one issue or two, but then you're going to have to figure out where you're going to put the other one. So bookshelf it. I mean, that's pretty much all you can do. It's irritating because when retailers have been toting this for years, books like Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire's AD, right? That book came out magazine size, did not do very, like people were like, I don't want this. And those are creators that are hot, that are, selling books left and right. Criminal came out with a handful of like magazine one-shots that people were like, whatever. Like some people bought them, but people just kind of skipped over it because the size isn't what they're used to. And, when we heard that they were releasing it in magazine format, we're like, oh, great. Is this going to be every Black Label title? Because if it's every Black Label title going forward, I don't know how well this is going to do in the comic book market because people are just going to be like, I'll just wait for the collected version of this.
I don't have any room to put this because I already put my 2 in my box. And how many comic boxes? I mean, like putting a comic book that doesn't fit anywhere is a serious problem. Mm-hmm. And I have crap. Okay, not crap, but when Alex Ross did the 9/11 Heroes thing.
Well, he also did those
Yeah, he did
3 or 4
those oversized like
DC Treasury ones.
Amazing, but
well, I have those standing on a bookshelf with books. Like those Ross Treasury.
But the thing is like that is something I'm like, okay, it's one shot. Okay, fine, right? Mine ended up going on their sides in boxes, but that's a small thing. This is Batman Damned is something that's going like 6 issues or something, or I don't remember how many issues.
I thought it was 3.
Is it 3? I'm like, I don't know, whatever, because honestly, my interest is This magazine. Ugh. And then we received them today, and it's even worse. Because so for those of you that don't know, and a lot of people don't know, comic books come to us in Diamond boxes. Basically, they're shipped to Diamond in other boxes. Diamond takes them out, sorts them, distributes them to comic book stores. They come. The only way the comic books come is in like pre-set. Like, this is a box of 120 books, so on and so forth. Right? They're just sitting in there, one pile. That's it. Magazines, on the other hand, like DC Nation and this Batman Damned, they come shrink wrapped with a plastic bundle tie around them, much like you see those.
So does the bundle tie wreck the first one and the last one?
The first one and the last one, because it rubs on the spine and on the edges, and so it's like you couldn't really. So we get I think 20 in a bundle, 25 in a bundle, or something. Or no, it must be 20 in a bundle. You get 20 in a bundle. You get 18. You got
send 2 back.
So going forward, I hope this isn't Black Label's format. I hope this is just the one for this one. The other annoying thing so far about Black Label is they're retroactively making things Black Label. So like the Batman White Knight that Sean Murphy did is now considered Black Label. So it will most likely be labeled as such with the subsequent like releases in graphic novel and trade. Brave and the Bold, the Liam Sharp.
Oh, that's Black Label?
They're retroactively making it Black Label.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right, the Brave and the Bold should never be Black Label.
The one with Batman and Wonder Woman,
Yep.
that one?
Yep.
That seems like an outlier from the Black Label concept.
The thing is the Black Label concept is they can just do whatever they want with the characters. It's not. This isn't continuity. This isn't stuck to continuity.
Black Label seems like the All-Star idea, just revived. All-Star.
It's the All-Star idea without having to worry about blocking out swear words.
So
it's more like
Batman and Wonder Woman miniseries seemed like just a conventional DC miniseries.
Yeah, but it was more not in continuity, kind of like more of a fantasy type thing.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't push any boundaries like with language or like sexuality or anything like that, but they're still calling it Black Label. I mean, it's fine, but like the only part is it's retroactively being done, like called Black Label. So I don't know. We'll see. The big news is the cameo or first appearance of Bruce Wayne's little man, little Bruce.
Why is it always dick jokes with you? I don't get it.
Well, they're getting rid of Dick. He's going to be Richard now. Did you hear that?
He'll never be Richard to me.
Oh, nope. They're going back. They want him to be Richard now. So they're going forward with just Richard. Don't look at me. I had nothing to do with it. I had everything to do with it.
Nothing.
Okay, so
steer us into some safe waters.
Some safer waters. All right, so let's see. We had a couple questions. Well, this one, it's a question, but it's not for us. But I want to read it anyway because I want to make sure to keep it in everyone's mind for next time. And it's Andrew Nelson Mendez.
Yeah.
The guest we had. He made it safely back to Canada. So we were questioning whether or not he made it back.
Yeah.
Very good.
He must have felt like that night here was like a bachelor party.
Yeah. He said, if Charlie is on tonight, he never did finish the Omnibros story.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
From when he was over there. So what was the Omnibros story?
We don't know, Andrew.
We don't know.
You got to save it.
I'll tell you what, Andrew. I'll find out.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
So we'll just wait till Charlie's on. Then we just ask him.
Yeah.
Just bring it up. So yeah, Andrew, we will
Andrew. Yeah,
we will get the Omnibros.
I did, Andrew, and anybody who actually cares about this topic, which we can probably count on one hand. I did post a question to Charlie on Facebook of whether any oversized hardcover counts toward Omnibros membership, or whether it has to be technically an omnibus.
You have to have like your checklist.
And so I got a response from Charlie and from Jim Jokish saying that any oversized comic book hardcover counts towards your
Jim's
Omnibro.
an Omnibro, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
He's one of the Omnibros.
So I learned a little bit. That's all I know.
I just packaged up an entire short box of stuff to ship to him today.
Jim.
I feel like I'm trying to decode the rules of joining the Freemasons or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But Andrew, stay tuned.
You got to listen to the radio and get a little style.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Drink your Ovaltine. All right, so since we talked about Mark Long or Mark Nashburn, I mean, I don't know which one to read, but that's his Twitter handle. He says, so with the new Captain Marvel trailer, it looks like she will be poised to lead the new Avengers in the MCU along with Black Panther. Who else do you think will be in the new team post-Avengers 4 Part 2? Or I guess I don't know. Everyone calls it 3-4. I don't know. So you got Captain Marvel,
Black Panther, Ant-Man and Wasp.
I don't know if they're going to lead. I think Ant-Man and Wasp are just going to stay kind of the fringe fun characters and like come in when need be.
Spider-Man, Wolverine.
Oh, fuck. Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
Classic Avengers lineup.
Classic Avengers lineup.
This is even better than when Cap had Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Hawkeye as the Avengers. Those are sweet days.
Rough times in comic book history.
Well, I would bet money, and this is probably not a unique theory by any means, but Infinity War ends, of all the people who disappear, left standing are the original founding Avengers at the end of Infinity War.
Yes.
None of those guys make it out of the second part of the movie.
No, because you got to renew contracts and they're getting older.
So I think you could also count out
brutal honesty.
I think you could also count out the Black Widow. I don't mean that they're all dead. I just mean they're not Avengers.
They're out
going forward. Although Cap and Iron Man, I would say, are probably not still around. So you could have Bucky.
Yeah.
You could have the Falcon.
Yep.
Ant-Man and Wasp. Hawkeye's maybe.
Jesus, straight red. This is the Avengers lineup that I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's the one you're like in the comics.
Hawkeye's been in. He was in the first one. He was in the second one. But I mean, when else did he show up? He was in Thor for a minute, holding his bow pointed at.
He was out in the snow. He was out in the snow with Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was sorry.
I think that's a different movie.
That's the Bourne whatever.
My vote would be forget all of this. My vote would be stop making Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Do the solo characters, and then you're going to have some new material coming in where you can focus on other teams.
Yeah.
Just don't give us the B-list Avengers lineup. Just don't make
West
any
Coast
more
Avengers?
That's what. Unless you want to do some light
Wonder Man.
Oh, I love Wonder Man.
Give
me Wonder Man in the safari jacket.
Well, I mean, with the Disney Fox merger, I mean,
turtleneck.
We're probably going to get a revamp of Fantastic Four. We're probably going to get, it'll eventually lead to Avengers versus X-Men. I mean, if they decide to do it, so they have stuff that they can do. I mean, they could bring Galactus in as something that's not a cloud, for once.
And if you want to do an Avengers team that's like teen characters or some, I don't want to call it a silly version.
Avengers.
I don't want to call it a silly version, but some kind of lighter version. I just wouldn't have Captain Marvel leading Black Panther and the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye and call it the New Avengers or something. It just.
Well, what if they call it the all new, all different Avengers?
Oh. There are other teams you could do. I would rather see the Champions than that Avengers lineup. Hercules, Ghost Rider.
Oh my god!
Well, actually, the Angel.
Oh, that was so terrible. Sorry, all you Champions fans.
The new Champions is what is scary to bring up. But Vivi's in it, which is Vision's daughter. So do you think Vision will actually come back and play a bigger role?
I don't know if Paul Bettany is. I haven't even seen anything on his contract.
But that's a character that could come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not difficult to say, oh, look,
he's a robot.
I got changed a little bit, and it's a different actor, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
he's based... Yeah. You could have the Vision, but the Scarlet Witch, is she going to be around? I mean...
I could take her to leave the Scarlet Witch. I mean, if you bring Vision back, you're going to eventually
Olsen
bring
was
in...
solid. She'll be back.
Anyway, his question was, who do we think would be in the Avengers?
Yeah, in the team post
basically
Avengers.
choose from that grab bag.
Yeah, choose from the grab bag.
And
right.
any lineup you pull from that bag at random is probably going to be as good as any other.
Is the random crap Avengers. I mean, they would probably still make good movies, but you're like, oh, God, really? It's the Captain Marvel-led Ant-Man Wasp Vision.
Versus Brodok.
Yeah, versus Brodok.
Brodok.
Exactly.
No relation to me. Yeah.
No, you're no Brock. That's
No Brock.
Brodok.
Nice. We'll see. I mean, it's just everything's just speculation right now.
We don't know Andrew. We don't know much.
Like,
As you
that's
figure,
not Andrew.
That was not.
No,
who was
it's
this
Mark.
question? Sorry, Mark.
Mark Nashburn.
We don't know much.
Yeah, I mean we're in the same boat everybody else is. Well, we've seen.
We just make stuff up.
Yeah,
Yep.
pull it right out of our signatures.
Some guesses are educated and some are right out of thin air.
The new Avengers team is going to be Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, Wolverine, Spider-Man,
Ghost Rider, Grey Hulk. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is going to be a 10-second rant. Spider-Man should not be on any team ever.
No.
Except as a guest star to help out.
Yep.
And Wolverine should be on no team that doesn't start with X.
Yes, correct. I feel like that is a very
Wolverine on the
solid assessment.
Avengers is just wrong.
Spider-Man on the Avengers is wrong.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's not a team guy.
Right.
No, he's not. He's a web-slinging solo act.
Yeah.
He could swing into he's just swinging in.
Well, the thing is his in Civil War he did just that and stole the movie, and it was great.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
Don't put him on a team.
Okay, so now we have Scanner 51.
What's up, Scanner?
Do you guys think WB/DC will retroactively go back and add Bill Finger to old movies? Like when movies are shown on TV or on future video releases of old movies.
Oh, in the credits.
In the credits. Like,
Yeah.
So I think this would also apply to streaming since they have the new DC Universe streaming stuff.
I'm out of the loop. Bill Finger.
It was a settlement, I believe, and I don't know the fuzzy
details
on
either,
whether it's with his estate, because Bob Kane basically took the credit for everything Batman.
Batman, yes.
Correct.
And if you look at all those old Batman reprints, it just says Bob Kane
Kane.
in a box. His name was always with a box drawn around it. Bill Finger was an equal co-partner, much like Siegel and Schuster, in a lot of the Batman mythology. There was some, I don't know if it was a legal settlement or just a gentleman's agreement or something with the estate of Bill Finger, where he is going to start getting credited in Batman. It's going to say, it's not co-created. The technical credit now is Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger.
Oh, with,
not and.
Oh.
With. That's the best they could do.
That's the best they could. That's still brutal.
So I don't know if it applies retroactively or whether it's new material going forward. They have to credit him.
So I don't think they need to go back and do it retroactively to the material that was already done. I think if it's new printing or a new we're now 18K or whatever. I think then they kind of have to do it because it's a newer version. Whether or not they have to go back and do it, I don't know. That's all part of the legal settlement and stuff like that.
If it's legal, and I'm not sure if it was a legal thing or not, or if they're just throwing a bone to the estate to make nice. Because when Superman the movie came out in 1978, it was a big deal that Siegel and Schuster got a credit on screen. Mm-hmm. Neil Adams actually fought for that. There's a whole story you could research if anybody's interested in this. Neil Adams fought for Siegel and Schuster, and them getting that credit on screen. Now you think nothing of it when we see all the comic creator names at the end of every movie, and you just think nothing of it. That was a big deal.
Well, the big deal is getting it on the credit roll, is on the main credit roll, which movies have stopped doing nowadays. But if the movie does have that big credit roll, it is very important that the creator get on that role. And if they don't, you're not giving credit where credit is due at that point. Even Deadpool gave credit to Rob Liefeld on it was a joke credit, but it's still a credit. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe you can if you get that DC Universe streaming service thing, you can check it out. Which I have a couple problems with that streaming service.
Now, have you checked it out since it's been live?
Yes.
Since Saturday?
Yes.
And?
So Saturday I had to come into work because
It's Batman Day.
Because Batman Day and apparently Ryan's back couldn't handle Batman Day.
Is that when he didn't go?
No, I had to come in. He called me
Ryan,
at 8:30 in the
you need
morning.
to take care of your back. You need to stretch out your psoas. Work on. You just can't be sitting all the time. You got to get in shape, buddy.
So
Sorry.
So I had to come down, and he was play the Batman the Animated Series off the streaming app just for the day. I was like, okay, that's perfect, right? Subtitles worked fine. The streaming service worked fine. It wasn't fuzzy or anything. It looked fine. The real issue I had with it is when it goes to change over to the next episode, it cuts out of full screen. So you have to go back into full screen. Like, I actually have to manually click back into full screen, which is really annoying, especially like when you're working and all of a sudden it's, oh God, it's back to, because instead of making it the player change in player, they change, because it's a website, it loads the next web page. So it automatically cuts you out of full screen.
Is that your biggest issue?
Well, then it started to get fuzzy and act all crappy, and so I think initially I think it was a good idea for them not to have anything like the Titans show right at launch, because they need some time to get the kinks out. Because if they launch with Titans and you're watching this.
Oh, so when you binge, you have to go back in and open it back up to a widescreen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so basically what I'd have to do is I'd have to go over and hit full screen again. It would play to the next episode, but it'd go down. It wouldn't it didn't work as it was like I think it needed to. And, of course, it was the first day, so some of that streaming stuff could have been affected by the amount of people logging on, all that stuff. But I think that it's definitely a good idea that they gave themselves about a month to kind of fix the kinks before they drop a new property. Because if they drop that property and people were having problems, they're not going to like it. So, yep. So, yeah, you can look on the DC Universe to see if they've credited Finger. Who knows?
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Let's see. Tweets of Rage 2. Okay.
Maybe he's angry.
Maybe. It's super cool that DC is doing chronological collections.
Doesn't even sound angry.
No, he sounds
like
kind of
he's not.
Yeah,
Kind of
he's
peppy.
not. It's just Tweets of Rage 2. Like, that's just the
Why
handle
is he
he's
the
going
second
with.
guy that he's tweeting with rage? Tay Tweets, could you let us know who tweets a Rage 1 or the original one?
Who's Tweets of Rage 1? Maybe there's a Tweets of Rage 3.
Is it your wife?
It's super cool that DC is doing chronological
Husband.
collections of the post-crisis Batman books. Would you recommend starting with the Batman or Detective collections?
the post-crisis.
So after,
Post-crisis.
I would say,
Oh, okay. So you
I would say after Crisis, Detective was way better for a long time.
that's Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle,
Correct.
right? Okay, those are really cool.
So the Detective.
I believe those guys did Detective,
right.
but I don't know who did the Batman's post-crisis. Is that Death in the Family? Yeah.
Yeah, Death in the Family.
Well,
was
so Crisis is 85.
85.
And Death in the Family is like 88, 89.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to... Because in between there, you have KG Beast.
Yeah,
You have the
was
Jim
some-
Starlin issues.
There was some issues in that Batman stuff.
Yeah, it's Jim Starlin writing Batman.
You know how I know? We have a ton of back stock of that stuff.
Jim Aparo drawing Batman.
Which is always good.
He wasn't at the height
He
of his
wasn't at his
powers
best then,
but
but-
no, yeah. But I would say that Scott, I'm going to agree with you. The detective stuff is just weird and wild, and you've got different. It's very episodic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the villain. Maybe you have a 2-issue storyline, but
Yeah.
there's nothing you'd have to.
People seem to come back to those back issues and buy them in like 1 or 2.
Right,
3
because that's
issues
because
they were
the
chunked.
detective is
Yeah.
chunked. I thought the stories were concise.
Yeah.
Nothing really sticks out. It was just one of those. It was solid, and then I would say, once they started, I guess in the mid '90s. In the mid '90s, it probably went back and forth because they would mix the storylines quite a bit.
Well, they were like Nightfall was going on, and then they had like Legacy, and then they No Man's Land.
There was all sorts
Crimes.
of good, there was all sorts of good stuff.
The Batman universe was crossing over heavily.
Yeah, that was in the 90s.
That was like the Chuck Dixon era.
And editorial was, I think the editorial on that was really good, just to keep it all in the same, kind of in the same idea flow.
Yeah.
So, post-crisis detective.
I think Detective is it's classic kind of superhero story. Villain shows up. Batman and I think Robin was in these issues. Yeah. Oh, Alan Davis did some of the art in these around this detective period too. Batman and Robin battle the villain of the week or of the month, and you get to see a lot of the different rogues.
That was
come
also
through.
the early McFarlane stuff when he did that Batman. Those handful of Batman issues, right?
That was McFarlane's was it year?
No, that's
year two is Alan Davis. That's what the Reaper or whatever the character's called.
But it's that.
Yeah, but I can picture the McFarlane cover.
Yeah, year 3 is later.
Yeah, that's Perez.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah. Yes, McFarlane is in there.
Yeah.
McFarlane also did Invasion in this time period.
Oh, Invasion, so brutal. So brutal. It's painful. It really is. You can buy a set from us for $3, okay?
Anybody just heard a recommendation for kind of a fun DC sci-fi event series with some Todd McFarlane art doing the DC characters for the first time?
Well, it was Todd McFarlane and Sears, right?
Yeah, Sears did the last issue. McFarlane did the first 2, and then
I liked Invasion with the Dominators.
Yeah,
for like
that's not bad. It's 3 issues long.
Yeah,
it's $3 here. Call Ryan.
Yeah,
we have a set.
Plus, there's a ton of crossovers, though.
Oh God, those were the worst.
Don't worry about the crossovers.
Yeah, don't worry about those.
There's too many.
So so the detective, and actually this brings up something because did you guys see the solicitations for December dropped for DC?
Oh, the detective
and they
set.
have the detective set, which is releasing the first 26 issues.
Oh, that's cool.
Which they haven't.
I don't think they've ever put all those together in a collection.
Because the second Batman came on the scene, it became Batman's.
But it's 2 volumes in a slipcase, right? And it's one detective 1 through 26. Yeah,
that's sexy.
Yeah.
The pre-Batman detective.
Now, those stories and that art are not great.
No.
But as a piece of history, it's really cool.
Yes. Okay. All right, we got one more question. I'll go look around if we have any more, but we have one more question. And I'm the only one that can answer it. Son of a bitch.
What was it like to unpack the boxes today?
Fuck that. Jesus Christ. There were so many books, and 2 of the boxes got mangled by the forklift.
Okay, enough with the boxes.
Okay.
You don't care. We take care of you, and you don't care. You don't care about what we do.
Sometimes I get everything that I want in my box. Hashtag the hub sucks.
Yeah. Raid Indiebot. Joshua. We'll just say Joshua. First he asked who is going to be on. 3 of us. Because he said so I can come up with some good questions. But in the meantime, could you please explain what's up with comic binding?
Oh,
wait! Is this Craig's
troll question? This is Craig's alias.
Is this Craig's alias?
It has Indy in there.
Craig, are you trolling us again?
Is he trolling?
So in the East Bay, there's a really good comic binder, and what you want to do, yada yada yada.
You know what? You know what? We should just
get a razor blade.
Put in the show notes like the specific episode number where it's like 45 minutes of binding talk.
I think we should in the show notes just put together, just give the guy give the binder's address and phone number in the show notes.
Whatever.
Like every week.
Well, it's Herring and Robinson. Like we've mentioned it numerous times. So
you got it.
All right, let me.
We know it's you.
I'm gonna do binding 101 smaller than summer school edition. Basically, binding, really tiny. Okay, I get
binding
it. I get
anything now.
Are you going to get out your phone so you can start timing this? Because that's what you do, Sharp.
I will tell you, if you're going to bind something now in a large run in 25 years, you're going to be upset that you bound one of the issues in that run because it'll be valuable for some reason. And you're going to be like, I can't believe I bound that whole thing. That issue's worth $100. It happens all the time.
Not anymore. Well, if you think you're going to have that, just get a beater copy of the book.
It happens all the time.
So anyway, simple, quick comic book binding. You basically take things that...
You're falling for this again?
I'm not falling for it again.
You are.
They want it. That's what they want. They asked the question. I'm answering it.
It's his troll.
It's fine. He can troll. I don't care.
He doesn't really
feel he needs the attention. He's going through a lot, okay?
Of comics.
Yeah. So basically, binding. You're gonna. The problem is you got a map. There's all this
his
stuff.
Batman Azrael stuff.
Oh God!
And he's just gonna put because he's an Azrael fan. He's Batman Azrael.
Well, you
fan.
should bind that Azrael stuff
all together.
They have
one
not. I don't even think they collected that stuff
because it's awesome. And you know what? He's also wants to bind his Catman stuff. So he's gonna bind his Azrael and Catman stuff together.
Hey, Catman is really cool in that Villains United miniseries.
In Villains United,
really good.
Was it Secret Six?
Mm-hmm.
He was really good. I like that character. That they flushed him out, so he's not much of a joke anymore.
No,
his Gibbon and Kangaroo comics from the Spider-Man. He's going to bind all his random Spider-Man.
Let him
villains.
finish, please.
Yeah,
Man Mountain Marco from Spider-Man.
It's so good. The Rocket Racer.
A good place to start is there's a website called Collected Editions.
The Big Wheel.
A lot of guys who do binding on there have posted what they've bound, their mapping process, all that stuff. There's a lot more that goes into it than just picking out what, kind of hardcover you want around it, if it's the faux leather or the Bikram leather, or if you want like an image put on there. You can go to herringandrobinson.com and check their website out for what their actual binding process is for what they have to offer you. There are other places that do comic binding out there, but you can definitely check out stuff.
Don't fall for it,
Collected
guys.
Editions. They have a bunch of forums. There are some really good binds in there, though. There's a Conan bind that I saw
honestly
on there.
feel like
that
this
was
is the fourth
amazing.
time I've been on this show.
It's because you're on.
About comic
That's
binding.
why we talk about comic binding when you're on.
Because I'm so knowledgeable.
Because you're so knowledgeable. Because you love the binding of the comics. Oh, we got one more notification. What is it? So that's pretty much it for questions. I don't have the huge, social media reach that Ryan Higgins has, and even with his retweet of
Don't
me
apologize.
Well, why don't we?
So
I have an idea.
You have an idea, and this is a fantastic troll idea.
Hey Ryan,
especially after his tweets this past weekend. So
guess what,
take
Ryan?
it away, Scott.
Let's do some random picks.
Random picks? What are these things called random
Now,
picks?
I would think as a comic store owner, I would love this segment because it draws attention to something that maybe somebody doesn't know about, and they hear and go, "Oh, I'd like to check that out," and maybe you make some money.
On a weekly basis, it's too much. It's just
Okay.
because you're repeating yourself way too often.
Well, Ryan
on a monthly
actually-
basis, it would be fine. So
Ryan
listeners
Higgins
advocate-
texted me and said, "I have a random pick."
I can't tell if you held your face. You held the straight
fell
face
for it
for
for
just
like
long
2
enough.
seconds,
Just
Kevin.
long enough.
Ryan Higgins' random pick is the absolute Batman: The Killing Joke.
it's just because it's up on the top shelf and it's the biggest thing.
I think he probably wants to sell it.
We already sold one. They
So
double shipped
maybe
us.
he wants to sell another one, and that's why he texted me. Thanks, Ryan, for that great pick.
Scott, what's your random pick?
So I have 2 random picks.
Jesus. Making it for lost time
My
here.
2 random picks.
I don't even know how long.
Number 1 is Kurt Busiek's Astro City, The Tarnished Angel, and it's one of those that was really good. I was out looking in the trade section. If you like superhero comics, you should read Astro City at some point. You can pick up really any number of the early trades are really good. Tarnished Angel is a great trade.
That collects a couple of the minis?
Yeah, it's a couple of the minis about basically he's a villain that was not good enough.
To be a villain?
To be a villain. He just was not a good enough villain. And
was it like the DF list for Spider-Man?
And then, he got into a point where, again, it's a great Busick story. So I really enjoyed it. It was a good one, and I think you should get it.
And I'll second that. And the great thing about those Astro City trades is you can pick up any random one and enjoy it because they all stand alone. But if you read them all, you get even more kind of depth of layered storytelling.
It just flushes out the universe with reference here, reference there. That's not a non-essential,
right?
But just fulfilling.
Yeah.
We've actually been selling out of the Astro City trades.
My second pick, Kevin actually brought in, and it's a very beautiful John
Burns.
The
worst because this is something for like your coffee table that you need to look at. This is the worst.
The worst.
Quick.
This is a great. Are you kidding?
I didn't say it's not a bad pick. I'm saying it's a horrible pick because it's more of a visual pick.
You're terrible.
I know.
This is my pick.
No, it's your second pick.
It is John Burns X-Men Artifact Edition. So it collects. It's by IDW and Marvel, and it's oversized coffee table. Mm-hmm. And it collects in essentially actual size the original artwork, and it's not all of the pages, but it's a significant amount of the pages from John Burns' X-Men run from 108 through 143. And it's really like if you grew up during that time, would be a really key piece for you to either find, look at, share with a friend, or go to their coffee table and read and look at theirs. So it is fairly pricey.
Those are those artist editions?
So the artist editions have full stories in them. The artifact editions are where they can't get the full story, so you get chunks of pages.
Okay, so that's the difference. I know they're coming out with a Jim Lee one.
The chunks of pages, again, it's...
But I don't know if it's artifact
For me, the Jim Lee ones and some of these... In the 80s, 70s, 80s, obviously 60s as well, the pages had a simplicity to it. Many of the word bubbles were cut out and added, and you can kind of see the texturing to that. The new modern page making doesn't usually have any of the words on them. So any of the modern,
those are all done.
Put in digitally.
Those are all done after everything's gone into inked. It's one of the final passes.
Right, it's a digital effect. So it's really interesting to see that if you don't see that on a regular basis, or if you don't collect artwork. So,
all right,
go for it, Sharp.
So my random pick is
you have one or two.
I have one.
Okay.
It is.
I'll go get another one. Don't you stop me.
This is where Brock's getting his. I'll vamp while Brock gets his ready. This is I'm holding a hardcover edition, although you could also get a soft cover. It's Justice League of America: The Nail.
It's a 3-issue prestige format.
Well, there's actually 2 series. I think this book collects the Nail and then another nail.
Yes.
Each is 3 issues, written and drawn by Alan Davis. It's an Elseworlds story starring the classic like Bronze Age Justice League, minus Superman, for reasons that the story is about. And the premise of this is, what if the day that the Kents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, were taking their trip where they found Kal-El's rocket, what if a nail gave their truck a flat tire and they never found that rocket? How would the world have gone on independent of that? So it's, like I said, it's an Elseworlds. Alan Davis is saying
baby Kal-El starved to death in his spaceship?
I'm saying his destiny went along a different path.
Okay.
Alan Davis's art in this book is it's Neil Adams level, as in 1970s Neil Adams in his prime level, great. But you get to see him drawing all of the classic DC characters. I love this miniseries. I had never read anything written by Davis before this, but I always liked his art. This is just, he is throwing his top fastball art-wise in this series. I can't recommend it highly enough if you are a Justice League fan.
Yeah, I have heard from numerous people that it's a very, very good read. I haven't actually gotten a chance to read it yet. Now that it's they have a nice hardcover of both of them, I might actually snag that up. But yeah, I've heard nothing but really good things about that story, and I think Another Nail, people are like, yeah, it's okay. It loses
fun.
It loses something because it's not the first one, but they still say it's good overall.
The first one is magic.
Yeah.
And actually, I got a letter published in the Comics Buyer's Guide about this series because DC didn't take letters about miniseries. So I wrote to the Buyer's Guide to say, back when this was coming out as issues, to say, this is fantastic. Alan Davis is incredible. And what I love it, and I remember this, what I wrote in the letter, is that he draws the Flash skinny, like with a runner's body, instead of the way he looked for all of those years in the Justice League.
Yeah, he more has like an athletic build now, and like they make him look more like bulky than he needs to be. Whereas, I think that's the thinner, like, runner's body Flash is a lot more authentic to who that character is.
Yeah. Anyway, The Nail.
The Nail. My random pick, I guess it's something that I picked up a few weeks ago that I need to bust open and read. It's the Seven Soldiers of Victory Omnibus by Grant Morrison.
Wait, you hadn't read it at all?
I hadn't read it.
Or you just hadn't read the Omnibus?
I haven't read it at all.
Whoa, and you committed to the Omnibus.
I committed to the Omnibus.
Whoa.
Well, the thing is a lot, because the thing is when the trade, they came out with 2 hardcovers, and I didn't grab them. Then they had 2 soft covers, and it was one of those things I just didn't grab. Because, doing back issues, I see all of these things, and I'm like, okay, I'll read this, but Seven Soldiers of Victory was a little bit different when it was coming out. It was, you didn't read each miniseries as 1, 2, and 3, 4. You read it as, I read issue 1 of this miniseries, issue 1 of this miniseries, issue 1 of this miniseries, and then the issue 2s you read it. So
it was stupid.
So when it was coming out,
it was stupid. Sorry, Grant. Sorry, Ryan. I loved it. Of course, Grant Morrison. I love it.
I think when it coming out, people were like, "What the heck?" But I think in a collected format,
probably much better.
It's probably going to be a much better, more fluid read. So I picked up the Omnibus. Really nice looking Omnibus. DC's been doing a good job, at least look wise, with their omnibuses. So yeah, it's on. So I've, if you get the Omnibus, cool. If you don't want to commit to the Omnibus, see if they have the trades used. Grab those. There's 2 of them. Some of those miniseries are hard to track down, like the Zatanna, because everyone loves Zatanna, so everybody bought buys the Zatanna one.
The way they look, if you're going to Grant, if you're listening to our podcast,
which we highly doubt,
no,
wait, he's listening to the 0.75. He just doesn't listen any other time.
Yeah.
Dude, just put everything together the right way. I mean, I realize that you want to make it a challenge for all of us to read comic books.
He already makes it a challenge.
That's his plan.
Brock, I will just say, this is a good selection of random picks. I will just say, I just reread Seven Soldiers maybe this summer. I have the 2 books.
Yeah.
The 2, I loved it. I loved it all over again. It is much, 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 much better as a collected edition than it was as a monthly. And you've got a wide selection of stories. You've got sci-fi, you've got fantasy, you've got Mr. Miracle of all things.
Well, one of the things
was Amethyst one of those?
No.
One of the things that I think...
Who was the...
There's Zatanna,
Bulleteer.
Clarion, Bulleteer, Mr. Miracle, the Shining Knight.
Yeah. Frankenstein. Guardian. Manhattan Guardian.
Yeah, the Guardian. And then there's 2 bookend issues.
The Manhattan Guardian I liked.
And Ryan Sook's art in that Zatanna series is really nice.
Another
pain in the ass is I'm always behind reading, so I have my comics in order. So I'm reading them 1, 2, 3 in chunks, and they don't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
You got to read them. Just read the whole miniseries.
So I was so frustrated. It was
another reason why I'm recommending it is it's a good introduction to kind of the mystical characters in the DC universe, especially with Justice League Dark out right now, and the crossover that they're going to be doing soon with is it Witching Hour, I think is what it's called.
That could be another random pick. Is the first run of Justice League Dark was fantastic.
Oh yeah, that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oof,
So
really
good.
Yeah.
But again, it's a good kind of, and I like a lot of we have Detective Chimp that's back, and he's in the Seven Soldier stuff. Isn't Dr. Fate in it too for a little bit?
In the Morrison one?
Yeah.
I don't remember Fate showing up. The Phantom Stranger is in it.
Okay, that's the one.
Love myself some Phantom Stranger.
So yeah. So if you're curious about some of the oddball characters of the DCU, it's definitely something to check out. So, that's the other thing I wanted to do, and I completely blanked on it. But we did have Batman Day over the weekend, right? September 15th, it was Batman Day.
We talked about that.
We haven't talked about it. So
yeah, we did.
Well, no, we kind of briefly talked about it. We talked about I had to come into work and Ryan Briggs was. What I wanted to ask was, what are your guys' first memories of Batman?
I just blogged about this topic recently, so it's fresh in my mind, and I will tell you.
Plug your blog and then talk.
No. But I this is fresh. It's funny you asked that because this is really fresh. Mm-hmm. I got a Detective Comics issue off a spinner rack. It was my first Batman comic.
Do you remember where?
I can picture the inside of the store, but I couldn't tell you what
was
store
it a pharmacy?
It was more like a magazine store, like a newsstand.
Like a newsstand store? Okay.
Now, this is independent of like Super Friends or Batman bed sheets or anything like that. This is comics Batman. Yeah. And for those who weren't privileged enough to buy in the spinner rack days pre-comic store, you might or might not have gotten the next issue of anything. Yes. It just was random what showed up.
Yeah.
There was no diamond. There was no... Oh, Scott's showing me a Detective Comics 100-pager. Anyway, I got this detective issue, and it ends with a cliffhanger. And it was literally...
How old were you?
How many years? Like
I was single digit age. It wasn't decades. It was... Though I was well into probably either junior high school or even high school before I found part 2 of that story.
Oh, jeez.
So over those years, what I used to do was whenever I came across that issue is I would make up my own resolution for how the story came. I would just try to imagine what because this is pre, you know what I mean? Like pre-walking the comic shop. This is let me go online and look it up. Obviously, if there's spinner rack, there's no internet. But you just...
Well, there might have been. We don't know.
It's a different world. So that is my Batman prime comic memory.
Scott?
2 comics, and I just actually found the cover to one of them, and I don't know why. It came out in 1974. I was way too young to be reading comic books. I would have been just an infant.
I mean, you probably just found it at a comic book store
but it was, or something. But it was Detective. It was a 100-page giant, Detective 440. I still have it. It is super beat up. It's the only copy of it that I have. Has like a psychic bear on it, and it has Batman saving a chained up girl in the forest.
Oh, that's what that's the part you like.
It had that, and I remember that was one of them. And then there was a Batman issue that I got with it, and it was kind of an orangish cover. And it had Batman, and there was he was in an airstrip, I think, fighting. I don't know if he was fighting Germans or Nazis, or I don't know what it was, but it was. That's just the covers visually for me. I can remember very clearly, and I have actually a couple copies of that now. So
now he's going to go on eBay and find other copies of the 100-page one.
No,
don't lie to yourself.
No. I'm actually looking for a copy of Detective Comics number 241, the Rainbow Batman, and it's a Batman, and he has a costume of every color. I feel like this is an amazing.
Oh, the pops that they made of those.
They made pops of them. Kevin said they had a whole.
Yeah, Batman they had pops, but they have an action figure set with all of them also.
Yep. So my first Batman memory, comic book wise, it's my secret origin to kind of comic books. It's that Batman and the Outsiders #1 that I picked up as my first real back issue purchase from Brian's Books back in the day. You know, I saved my money and I went down and I bought it, and Batman standing on the standing on the cover, basically yelling at the Justice League, saying "F you." I'm gonna go join. I'm making my own team, right? So it's kind of, yeah. So that was my first iteration to it. I mean, something 80s, but
yeah.
But I mean, everybody gets into Batman at different stages. But another thing I wanted to ask you guys was what Batman story do you think?
I also had Mego Batman and Robin action figures
with the removable cowl.
And I will tell you this: I never had both Batman and Robin. I always lost one or the other, and they were never together.
I had Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, and the Batcave, and the Batmobile, and the Batcycle. I never had the helicopter though.
That was aggressive. You
got one B and you didn't get that helicopter.
Yeah, I don't know what the circumstances were. Like if that was an accumulation of Christmas gifts over many years or something. I don't know how I acquired all of those.
So, but like, what do you guys think is your most memorable Batman story? Like to you, what Batman story stands the test of time? Is just it hits all the marks for you. It's great, whether it's some one issue thing or,
There's for me, there's Batman's run or Neil Adams' run with Ra's al Ghul and I had to eventually go back and get those, but that's an amazing. The art's really good. The story's really good. During that time,
didn't they do reprints of that stuff?
Yes, but beware anybody who's curious about reading that stuff. For some reason, I don't know who.
The ink was just
Neil Adams went back in and George Lucas-sized all of those. They are re-inked. Some panels are redrawn by modern Adams, and so they really stand out. God. And they're recolored. Everything has this horrible shading on it. Like every image has like a shade line along one side.
Adams shading just back in the day was phenomenal.
Yes.
What it was like, it was it was simplistic, and yet it gave enough definition to the character.
Yep.
You got facial expressions, you got feeling, you got emotion. Current Neil Adams looks like just garbage slapped on a wall.
But you get the privilege of seeing the fearsome Batman stalking the night in his bright blue plastic cape, thanks to the recoloring. It's awful.
Try not to get any of the recoloring. If
you can find the old trades.
Although were the oversized Neil Adams ones, were those okay? I have a.
You mean the treasuries?
I have an oversized, like an omnibus of Neil Adams' Dead Man.
Okay, no, those are redone.
Those are the redone.
Yeah, and it's a shame. It's a shame
because those are really nicely put
But you
together.
can get them in. There's old DC did some. They used to be called Baxter paper reprints of all of those with the original coloring, and there's the original printings of all the trades have the original coloring.
Isn't it the Saga of Ra's al Ghul?
Something like that. Yeah.
Those are it's a mini. They kind of pinned it as a mini series, so that's where we keep them in the bins.
And I feel like we talked about Batman in some context with favorite Batman covers. I think I remember this conversation.
I think we. Yeah,
so
I
will add, if it's favorite story, Batman Year One by Miller and Mazzucchelli is brilliant, and it's a great Commissioner Gordon story as well as a Batman story. And just for sentimental value, I'll go back to Len Wein written, Neil Adams drawn, Moon of the Wolf, Batman Battles a Werewolf. Loved it as a kid, still love it now.
Yeah.
And they did an episode of the animated series of that, adapting that story.
I think for me, the stuff I've read most currently, I think is like Batman Hush resonates more with me, just because it's
Nightfalls for me. It's the other one.
For Hush is just a good rogues gallery, like tour de force. Jim Lee's art's amazing. Scott Williams' inks on it is fantastic. It was when Jeff Loeb was actually writing decent, but for a more modern Batman, I think that for me that's what stands out. But there's so many places to get in to Batman. Like there's so many ways to to come into the character and all
every
of that.
take on it is different.
Yeah. I mean, you could read Gotham by Gaslight and
Yep.
be absorbed into Batman. It's not even, it's an Elseworlds Batman that you're reading. It could be something where you resonate more with a villain
Yep.
in one of his rogues galleries. Because, I mean, a lot of people like Flash, but a lot of people like his villains more. So
I also love the Steve Englehart, Marshall Rogers run on Detective Comics that has the famous story from that is The Laughing Fish with the Joker.
Oh, yeah, I haven't actually read that one.
Yeah, they adapted that, I think, in the animated series as well.
Yes.
But that is a great little run. I think it's maybe 8 issues total that those two guys were on the book. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is I really wish DC and Marvel, to a point, would go back. Marvel's doing it with their Epic Collection line, but I really wish DC would go back and kind of collect these, even the pre-crisis stuff.
Yeah.
Into
They'll have to make some kind of a grab bag collection because there's a lot of short little runs that wouldn't make their own book. So you'd kind of have to just call it like the Dark Knight saga or something like that, and just maybe you have work by 6 different writers and 10 different artists inside.
Yeah, I mean,
this book.
the thing is it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be something that's it's this creative team and this creative team. It could just be this is Batman 1 to 20 or 112 to 136.
Yeah.
Right. Just boom, like nice, good size, good pacing. But Batman Day is one of those days that kind of just, people reminisce on their Batman memories and Harley Quinn took over a few years ago for her 25th anniversary. It was last year she took over. Because they've only been doing Batman Day for 3 years, 4 maybe. We gave away. They did reprints of White Knight #1 with Sean Murphy with the stupid black label printed on it, and then they printed. They redid printings of Little Gotham, for like the younger kids. We gave away masks and stuff like that. We didn't really have too many people coming into the store for Batman Day, but people were like, "Oh, cool, it's Batman Day. I'll take something for free." So, So, anything else?
Got nothing.
Good. You got nothing?
I think that was a quality selection of topics.
Yeah, it's a good quality selection of topics.
We got a good one about
Yeah,
done.
yeah, we almost over an hour and 15 minutes. We're doing fairly good.
That's kind of like a normal
That's a
podcast
standard
length.
podcast
And by
length.
normal, I mean like a normal podcast, not a comic conspiracy.
No, not an overblown
not one where we have
talkover
like
fest.
we're talking for 2 hours and we realize, oh crap, we're like, oh, it's only been an hour, right? No, we've been sitting here for 2.5 hours. We talked longer than the actual movie went on about okay, so hopefully Ryan will be back next week, so we can move on with our numbering, because I don't know what I would do if we had to do another one.
Well, worry about that at the time.
1.76.
Yeah.
Just keep pointing it out.
Yeah. I don't have the actual outro here, so I'm just going to wing it.
Yeah.
So,
Or do you want to do it, Scott? Because before the show, you were pumped and amped to try and do the intro. You were
no, I'm good.
No, don't.
But I do have. I am looking for Detective Comics number 241. If anybody out there has one that you're willing to part with, just try to reach us at. Where do they reach us, Brock?
It's good. What's your Twitter handle? They can
My
direct
Twitter
message you.
handle is CSShay.
Yes. Yeah. Or Comic Con store.
Or Comic Con. I don't even know the difference if we're Comic Con or Comics Con or
The store is
the plurals.
The store is Comics Conspiracy.
The podcast is
the
Comic
Comic
Conspiracy, and the Twitter handle is Comic Con store.
Yeah, just whatever. Gonna have to whatever you on that one.
Well, first, thank you all for listening. Thank you to our Patreon backers. This might be something that's Patreon exclusive to you for a minute, and then it will go up on the YouTube channel, which is, has a ton of the stuff we're doing. Hopefully, we'll be able to get more stuff up there for you guys. Maybe Scott will do something where he's showing you how to play Marvel Puzzle Quest or something. Who knows?
Oh, big news.
Oh,
Cable's
Jesus.
coming out on Marvel Puzzle Quest, people. Big anniversary coming. Shout out
And that's
to...
it. We're out of time. Thanks for listening, everybody.
No, that's the other one. That's a 0.5.
Is that dropping today? Is that why Charlie couldn't come? He was like, nope, I gotta make sure I get.
I think Charlie's.
I think Charlie has his Doctor Who.
His Doctor Who podcast, yeah. So you can help us out through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicsconspiracy. For as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting fees and getting food sometimes when there's a blue moon. And yeah, so we appreciate all that. We have different tiers which you can reach. Apparently, we're getting rid of the random pick tier, so maybe the only time you're going to get it is on these 0.75s.
Random picks.
Random picks.
Get them while they're hot.
If you want us to do the random picks, you really, just hammer home at Ryan Higgins Ryan on Twitter. Just hammer at him that you want us to do random picks at least once a month. Maybe we can start doing those again. So you can go to www.comicsconspiracy.biz. That is the store's website. Our website is up. You can order through us, and we can mail it to you. Wonderful stuff there. It's connected to the hub, which everybody loves. # love the hub.
The hub sucks.
You just don't know how to use it.
Ryan doesn't know how to use it on his phone either.
I know how to use it. I do.
You couldn't find what I had and what I didn't have either last time we looked. Don't lie.
Your order history? No, that thing is garbage no matter where you look on the thing.
What do I need it for then?
It'll tell you if you bought something before.
No, it doesn't.
When it scans.
No, it doesn't. And it bought a Ghost Rider poster for me.
You bought the Ghost Rider poster.
I did not buy the Ghost Rider poster.
You hit the wrong thing.
I don't hit anything ever on it because I don't go on it.
He's still
# the hub
poster.
sucks.
We still have that stupid poster behind the counter because he won't
sell it.
Are the mics still on?
Yeah, they're still on.
Okay. Sorry, everyone.
This is an outro. We make the outros fun and different and engaging and exciting. You have to listen all the way to the end. You can't just, shut it off. You can also check out, so you can download this podcast and our other family of podcasts at www.geekbox.net. I don't remember what the long form one for Comics Conspiracy, I think it's Comics Conspiracy Podcast. I don't know. Google search it. You can find us. Ryan has some app that he uses to do his podcasting. I can't remember, Pocket Cast or something. Apparently that's the one app he's ever paid for that he thinks works the best and is the most amazing.
Dude,
the Pocket Cast, I don't know.
Let's end this sucker. Put a bow on it.
I know. I got to get to the Twitter handles, and then I got to do the digital storefront.
Let's do it now. Ready? Go.
My Twitter handle is Brock Sager. Your Twitter handle is
Siache.
Turn your mic on. What's your Twitter handle?
That Kevin Sharp.
And then there's apparently a couple other people like Ryan Higgins Ryan, Toby XI, Insanity and
Larson
Chaos,
Bryce.
Larson Bryce. Don't follow Bryce Larson.
What about
quote,
Indie Gator?
Screw that guy.
This troll.
Indie Gator.
This troll question.
Don't Indie Gator. Yeah, follow Indie Gator and let him know what you think of binding.
Yes, please do that. Can you guys follow Indie Gator and can everybody ask him about binding?
No, just
give him
flood
information
him with
on your binding
stuff.
We want him to know.
You can buy comics digitally through us at digital.comic. I don't remember. It's such a pain in the ass. Go to our website. It's up there. They had a really good sales on Batman stuff over the weekend. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out, oh well, they'll probably have it up there again. Ryan's probably going to be like, you butchered this, and I'm never letting you guys do this again. So
You're going to hear this. Don't worry.
yeah, he is. He's going to listen to the whole thing. He's laid up. He ain't nothing better to do. He can barely play World of Warcraft.
It's because he's too stressed.
He's too stressed. Yeah, that's it. Well, we're out. If you like this 0.5, let everybody know, and we'll make more of them.